Hey guys, it's Max. How's everyone doing this morning? Let's do a YieldMax report. Let's look at this uncapped upside from these call spreads. I have yesterday's trades loaded, so let's see what we have. See what we have and how we're doing today. Okay, so we're going to start with the call spread report. Actually, this is a YieldMax report, so let's just start with the buffer report. But then we're going to go to the call spread report to see the trades that they put on yesterday. But let's look at the single stock buffer report. Jackson, what are you doing? How come every time I start the show, you start to tear up stuff? It's okay, buddy. Okay? It's okay. You don't have to tear up the laundry basket, okay? It's okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Jackson's just... he wants me to pet him. All right. So let's see what's really standing out. Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to see. SMCI looks really good. So does Bobo on the far left. That looks really, really, really good. Look at Dizzo outperforming the parent. Zomo outperforming the parent. Infly outperforming the parent, which doesn't surprise me because they have a good trade on in fly. Anyway, some of these other ones are underperforming the parent a little bit, but still a lot of them are catching upside. Tesla's catching about 90% of its parent's upside at this point in the day. We only have a couple of ones that are down. The market's on fire this morning. Look at SPX. We'll also look at my volatility metric, which has been bullish. Which was right for once this morning, but we can look at that. We can look at that later. I'm going to minimize that for now. But yeah, all the major indexes broke out of it's looking like the other day was a fake out, and maybe up is the direction, which it has been for a while. Look at the slope on that moving average. I mean, well, all right. This is just a strong market we've been having lately. Let's look at Russell. Russell's a little bit weaker than the others. Russell is filling its gap actually from that it left behind, but that's fine. S&P and NASDAQ still have the gap open today. Okay, so on to the call spread report. Now, these are the places right here, this column, where they're catching extra upside because of their option trade that they put on. And we'll take a look at a couple of those, but these are so the ones closer to the top are the ones where they're in the better position on. Like, for instance, on TSMY, they just need TSM to move 2.58% from 204 to 210, and their spreads will be in the money, and they will start realizing extra money compared to like a normal covered call. There'll be some bonus pay. So Dizzo needs to get above 99. Zomo needs to get above 124. Abney needs to get above 141. It's at 134 right now. Snowy needs to get above 122. Aptly needs to get above 245. It's only at 231 right now. Let's look. I put a couple of these in here. I thought it might be interesting to look at. So GDXY, it's one of the trades I looked at yesterday, the second from the bottom. The option they're going for is the one they're going for is the 175. So what is going on with this? That's the current price of D66. Anyway, I don't really think GDX is, I'm sorry. All right, so GDX is at 41.77, down a basis point. 41.77. Okay, so how do I have the 175 strike calls on here? Trade in option strategies to show you guys. So here's what Jay did in this case. They're long 375,000 shares of GDX, which is a gold miner ETF, right? So this is kind of to me, a play on inflation, a play on things going to shit. I mean, because gold, I mean, it's not directly like owning gold. I mean, it's a gold miner. It's different, but at the same time, it's an interesting type of exposure you can add to your account. I hate this freaking thing. I'm getting ready to cancel StreamYard. StreamYard raised my bill from, it used to be $24 last month, and now the minimum is $44. And they did make some improvement. They put out some new software that I really like, but it's not worth double. I'll just go back to something else. I'll go back to free or whatever. That's ridiculous. All right. So they own the 375,000 shares, but then at the same time, he did a covered call he sold 3,750 call options at the 43 level, received exactly 37 cents for them. Okay. Now, this is the profit and loss graph of the way he used to trade, the old YieldMax, like 3 weeks ago or a month and a half ago. This is the way everyone did covered calls, totally capped on the upside. So it's kind of hard to root on YieldMax. You rooted for the stocks to go up, but not too much. You want, covered calls always say you want a steady market that kind of drifts up slowly or whatever. That's ideal. Well, how often do we get a steady market that drifts up slowly? Just perfectly ideal. Not very often, in reality. So, of course, the covered call spread solves the reality problem. It gives you something that works in reality. So in reality, you have outlier moves. You have weeks when the market's up 10% or something. You don't want to have your upside capped. And this trade would still be worth $1 million, $1 million extra bucks. Still has upside. If it's up 17%, it'd be worth $2 million. Just like stock, it's just up however much the stock's up. So anyway, this is an interesting trade. The profit and loss graph at expiration looks like this. The valley of death for this trade, and by valley of death, we talked about that back on Tress, but the spot where the spot in the options payoff profile where it has the worst relative outcome is right here. If it gets right here to 45 and dies, that's the worst relative outcome for it, because that flat spot is where they pay a commission, or that's where they get charged. What Jay's strategy is to roll early, of course. So look at this. He'll come in here and roll early. Okay, so basically for Jay, he doesn't have to worry about the flat spot. It's just like trading stock. Pretty much. It's pretty much just like trading stock. That's what he's trying to replicate, I think. Or just think about it. I think they're trying to give the returns of stock on the upside. Ideally, they fall a little bit short, but aim for the upside returns of stock, but pay a dividend that's like 5 times as high as current stock that pay dividend, or 5 times as high, 5 or 10 times as high as the current S&P, the current SPY dividend, which is like 1.5%. So it's an interesting business model. Okay, so we also have on here, we have 2 YieldMax trades. I also put the Square trade in here. I just did this with 100 shares. I didn't put in the exact share amount, but he owns Square. Then he sold the 74 strike option. Then he turned around and bought the 78 strike option. So here's the profit and loss graph at expiration. Let's make this look a little better. Here's the profit and loss graph at expiration. So just like anything else, he'll roll early. We're rooting for higher prices. But the other important thing to know is, even if they don't roll early, or even if it does land here, even if it lands here every time, they still get to keep the credit. They're still making the income, which is the objective. But if it landed there every time, it would give you the worst relative outcome to the parent asset. So it would have what appears to be erosion, and it would appear to be more severe if it landed right here at every time. All right, so that's Sky and Square. All right, so Tesla and Tesla. Let's look at that one really quick. Well, that's a good looking chart. I like the way that looks. I like the way that chart looks. It looks like Tesla's starting a bullish trend. You know, you can make a case that it looks a lot like back here, back here. So we'll see. Or maybe not starting, but continuing a bullish trend. But the critical price for the call spread on this one is 282.50. So let's just do this so we can visualize it a little better. Okay, that's our goal by the end of the week. Or actually, these don't expire till the 1st, so it's the end of the day. It's a week from now. Let's make sure I drug it out far enough. Yeah, the 30th. Boom, boom. Right there. Pretty much almost there. So anyway, anything we get over that, and that is like bonus pay, uncapped. All right. Well, that looks like that's about it for today. I'll try to figure out what's going on with this triple threat report. It looks like it updated, and we can see some better changes. Snowy and Aptly still outperforming the parents. The others still lagging a little bit. Single stock buffer report. Let's see if anything has changed here. Bobo's still looking good. Infly is looking good. We should review the Infly trade. If we don't review any other trades, expired or closed. Okay, this is the interesting. Well, damn it, this is a ULTY trade. Well, I ought to be doing this in the ULTY. This trade's work. Just suffice it to say, this trade's working out really well. This trade is working out really well. It's a triple. I'm calling this a triple long trade. It's J owned shares, sold puts, and bought calls with the proceeds of the sold puts. So it's also an income trade. That is a fascinating trade. Now, I don't know if he has the same trade on in YieldMax. So it's in the YieldMax Infly. So I probably shouldn't have said anything. I get confused or I get mixed up between the two. But whatever, it doesn't matter anything you have on when Netflix is up this much. Netflix has been killing it lately. Any bullish strategy you have on, and these strategies are all bullish. I have yet to see Alti do a bearish strategy. In fact, they don't. They do. It's always long stock plus some type of long stock strategy. Now, but they need to come out with the short Alti, the salty. That would really be nice. Yeah, this thing's on fire lately. This thing is absolutely on fire lately. I don't have the exact cost basis, but I have in the Alti trade that they're up around $3 million right now on this Netflix trade. And I don't have the exact cost basis for the synthetic. It's probably less than I think it is. So they're probably up, in reality, a little bit more. Bobo and Infly just killing it today. And Izzo. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you for being here. I got to go find what I'm going to do with my StreamYard. I got to figure out what service I'm going to use next. It sucks. I like my little logo being up in the corner. but it's not worth $45 a month. I mean, other services, it's anyway. I just, it's not like people see my logo and then tune to my channel. My logo doesn't draw people in. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you for being here. You have a good day.